Scholars debate whether television's influence on gender has been positive or negative. Betty Friedan, best-selling author of The Feminine Mystique, entered this debate early, when television was still fairly new. She argued strongly that television has a negative impact on women in a two-part article written for TV Guide in 1964. She claimed that television has represented the American woman as a stupid, unattractive, insecure little household drudge who spends her martyred, mindless, boring days dreaming of love and plotting nasty revenge against her husband. However, Joshua Meyrowitz's blended gender theory has more recently argued that television has served to help break down the Victorian idea of separate male and female spheres. Even though, especially in the early days of television, the myth of spheres seemed to be somewhat upheld by showing women in the home and men at work, he argues that the simple act of showing these spheres demystifies them, which is the first step in breaking them down, and it does not promote people to imitate them. George Gerbner's cultivation theory directly contradicts Meyrowitz's blended gender theory. Cultivation theory, according to the Encyclopedia of Women and Gender, proposes that television's consistent yet restricted portrayals construct a specific portrait of reality. And as viewers watch more and more television, they gradually come to cultivate or adopt beliefs about the world that coincide with this portrait. No matter which of these somewhat opposing theories is most correct, the one thing that they all do agree on is that television is one of the most pervasive ways in which social norms are communicated. And because of this, the way women are portrayed is of great importance. This portrayal is consistently evolving. Looking at three iconic female characters who lived out their television lives in very different decades is one way to clearly see this evolution. I Love Lucy aired on CBS from 1951 to 1957. The show was a massive hit. It consistently placed on the top 3 in the Nielsen rating. Lucille Ball was already an established film and radio actor when she developed the idea for the television show I Love Lucy, as a way for her and her husband Desi Arnaz to be able to work together and start a family. Together they broke considerable new ground. I Love Lucy was the first scripted show to feature an interracial couple, a pregnant woman, and a storyline that revolved around a woman. On screen, Lucy was known for her zany antics and attempts to get in Ricky's nightclub act. The pair often fought over control of household funds, even though Lucy often won, in the end, the power was slanted more towards the man. Off-screen, however, Lucille Ball was an innovator, bringing vaudevillian-style physical comedy to the small screen for the first time. Lucy also helped develop the 3-camera filming method that is still used today, as well as the concept of filming before a live studio audience. The Mary Tyler Moore Show aired on CBS from 1970 to 1977. The show was critically acclaimed and a hit with the audience. The show won a record-breaking 29 Emmys. Mary Tyler Moore started her television career playing the wife of Rob Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show during the 1960s. Her character on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Mary Richards, was originally written as a recently divorced woman, but the network was afraid the audience would think she had divorced Rob Petrie and immediately dislike her. To remedy this, the character was rewritten as a woman who had supported her live-in fiancé while he was in medical school, only to then be dumped by him once he set up his own practice. Mary then moved to Minneapolis, where her old college friend managed an apartment building. Mary applied for the position as a secretary at the local news station, but when the position had been filled, she was offered the job as producer for slightly less pay. Mary then spent the next 7 years with WJM. The Mary Tyler Moore Show broke incredible ground by having a lead character be a single woman approaching 30, but still single. Mary dated, but wasn't desperate to be married. The Mary Tyler Moore Show was a workplace comedy that had a female character playing equally with the males in the newsroom. The Murphy Brown Show aired on CBS from 1988 to 1998. The show ranked in the Nielsen's top 30 for 7 of its 10 seasons and won 16 Emmys. The show starred veteran actress Candice Bergen as television journalist Murphy Brown and revolved around her interaction with her coworkers on the fictional news magazine FYI. Murphy's character was a recovering alcoholic who was both vulnerable and fiercely strong, and her character had complexities not often seen on television comedies. Although Murphy frequently dated and sometimes was in long-term relationships, viewers saw no hint of desperation in her just because she wasn't married. Even when she became pregnant, she remained single, giving viewers a rare single mother role model. The show gained national media attention when then Vice President Dan Quayle publicly criticized Murphy Brown for becoming a single mother, stating she was someone who supposedly epitomizes today's intelligent and highly paid professional woman, yet mocks the importance of fathers by bearing a child alone and calling it just another lifestyle choice. We see through time how the portrayal of women on television has evolved. What was groundbreaking in each era steadily progressed and built on what came before it. In the 1950s, it was shocking to see a married woman pregnant on television, while in the 70s, it was seeing a woman who chose to have a career instead of a husband and children that was unconventional. By the time of the 1990s, it was a woman choosing to have both a career and a child, but not a husband that was controversial. Because of the pioneering of these women, we are now unfazed by seeing any of these previously unchallenged depictions of real-life scenarios on television, and these women have served as role models to their own and future generations, enabling others to push the envelope farther, not only in television, but in our society as a whole.